All right, we're back here for the last matchup of the night. It's going to be, wow.
There you go,
It's
yeah.
Luminosity and OpTic playing on DCPL Fire. I'm kidding. They're not doing that. They're actually going to play Overpass instead. But I'm sitting here with Vendetta, and he actually put that one in my head going into the segment.
I'm surprised he didn't say X3.
No. But
Next.
What do we know about this Overpass matchup?
I mean, honestly, it's been one of the go-to maps for Luminosity, actually for quite some time while they've been in the NA. It's been their comfort pick more or less. Even so, OpTic not really, you know, even though they don't necessarily play it a lot, when they do play it, they're competent in that sense. The one time we've seen them struggle a bit was you know, the infamous game where Mixwell kind of gets a bit overeager and decides to push every single round. Didn't quite pan out. I mean, they end up with a W, but still, you know, that definitely could have been a lot easier than what it ended up being. Outside of that, again, yeah, not a map they play a whole lot. So you look at Luminosity as being favored, you know, initially, but OpTic are playing better CSs right now.
I mean, we did just see a 16-7 from OpTic over Luminosity on Nuke on the previous map. We're actually going to be heading into Overpass now. And in order to do that, I don't think we can actually go to a map unless the Bears runs us through it. Check it out. This is the Bears.
Welcome back, guys, to another version and strategy of Eric Stromberg's strategies. Blah, 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 blah. I'm stuck at ESL Studios, but you know what? That's cool. We're here. We're going to talk about Luminosity. I really like their information play. You can see Fallen. He has a lot of influence on these Brazilian teams is the way they play. Pretty similar to SK, not on their level yet. But as you can see right here, Luminosity is going to find information. SHC and Yell are going to be in the connector. They're going to be like, hey, guys, how's it going? We're going to stack right here. SHC, he jumps. He spots 2 to 3 people. So this kind of prompts Luminosity to kind of change it up a little. Here he is. He's pushing Fountain. He spots no information. Look at this. Okay, so Luminosity, they had an A stack hold on pistol. You see Pickle right here at long. As soon as Destiny peeks, sees nothing, Pickle's going to run all the way back to B. This will allow Yell and SHE to focus on the water and lower connector area. So it hands you peace of mind. If you know that no one's behind you, you don't have to worry about it. So you focus right here. And you can see as it plays out, Yell and SHC, they're going to peak on rush as they're executing. As they're running the bomb site, limit the numbers. Don't force any weird angles. Just play it safe and slow, methodical. As Yell gets taken out, SHC, what his job is, he's keeping the guys in catwalk. It's so awkward for the T's to be stuck in catwalk when they have to turn from catwalk to A, or to B, I mean, to back to cat, to B, and it forces them in a weird spot, as you can see right here, and get shot and sandwiched in the back. Nice retake, 4 still left alive. That's huge. You save armor, you save money. Good thing. Same play, information play, but on a gun round. They flash twice for Fountain. Destiny, he spots nothing at all. So he's going to fall back, play more safer angle, as Yell and Pickle, he's in over here now. He joined the party. They're going to play in the connector area. Look at that. 2 kills off the bat. Because why? They eliminated one part of the map. They took a little risk. They flashed. They saw nothing. All right, let's adjust to that. And so great play. As you can see, again, Fallen is influencing them. I feel like an old school because, you know, he's an old school person as well. He played 1.6, so it's a pretty similar style to where you push one way, you see nothing, well, keep one person there and fall back. It's pretty simple and very effective, and you can see a lot of Brazilian teams especially do that a lot. And so, as you can see, Luminosity will clean out the round. Great play, great moves. Overall, Luminosity doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Back to you, Stena.
Thanks to Bears. Now, listen, the teams are standing by. They're ready to play. But, Vendetta, I've got to ask, do you stick to your prediction?
I know I'm going to stick with my, well, now that I know Jason R is playing, I'm going to stick with OpTic. Because, yeah, I think they're going to be better off just overall individually. I think we're going to see a better showing of them than what we saw last time on Overpass. And even though Luminosity fairly comfortable on the map, don't think it's going to be enough.
Well, there's a chance that you are right. We're going to throw it over to the commentators now who are standing by, blue and dazed, your usual suspects.
All right, thank you very much. Yep, it's time for the last map of the evening now. Heading over to Overpass for our final one between Luminosity and OpTic. OpTic taking really quick control, and Jason R and Rush, in a lot of respects, kind of leading the charge for them on that last map. Is this going to hold the same on Overpass, or is LG going to have a little bit more power here, you think?
I have no idea, Blue.
Well,
I think OG will do a bit better. I think on Nuke, they you got to remember most of these players. I mean, they didn't really, rise up to be in this like level of play when Nuke was even in the field. Nuke's been out of the game for a while, so that's kind of a new iteration for them, is trying to play Nuke. And although I thought a lot of their strats were, they're pretty well tuned, like they weren't doing anything inherently wrong, I don't think. OpTic players have just seen those strats a lot, and it wasn't anything that they could be like, oh, that was a tricky flash that you threw, that extra flash or anything like that. It was like Mixwell knew exactly what they were doing outside a lot of the time. When they were going secret and it didn't work, he was just like, okay, they're probably not going to go secret this time. They're probably going to go mini. Then you watch for mini and you can get those kills, And it was just very predictable from them. So I think their Nuke was a little bit rudimentary, but that's kind of the steps you have to take when improving on a map. You play it like that, you get stomped a little bit, you go back to the drawing board, you're like, how come they just kind of knew everything that we were doing? It's because all those OpTic players have played Nuke before. They've seen those strats a lot before. And the OpTic players as individuals are just a different beast than anybody that Luminosity probably played during that previous iteration of when they were playing Nuke. Now on Overpass, they've been playing this map for a long time, so I think they're going to be a lot more, they're just a lot more experienced on it against better teams and better players as individuals, so I do think they'll do better. But then again, I mean, how are you going to do worse than that, right? You lost, what was it, 16-6?
16-6 or 16-7, I think, was the score there.
Yeah, so you expect them to do better, and I think they will on Overpass.
This is, like, just looking at the records for these teams over the past couple months, this is an interesting one, actually, when you look at it, because for OpTic, it's like a skittish map pick for them. We don't see it very often. In fact, I think the last time, they usually have only played it like once a month or so over the past couple of months, looking back to it. But, I mean, looking at the end of 2016...
We saw them play Complexity on it, didn't we?
I think so, yeah. Like, when they have played it, they've played it against very lesser teams, not necessarily even ones. But if you go back to, like, the end of 2016, when they were on that really crazy run.
Yeah, this was one of their best maps.
They beat NIP, they beat Astralis, they beat C9 in their prime, they beat the old Envy roster on this map as well. So it was a really convincing map for them. And for LG, it's kind of been all over the place. Like, they've beaten good teams here, but it's been relatively close. And they've also lost to, like, really bad teams on this map. So, or, well, not like bad teams, but much lesser teams than them on this map. So it's a bit of a hit or miss one for LG. And we are getting into it now. And OpTic will start off on the T side. And they're going to push their way over into B pretty much directly, straight off the bat. No playing around with this one either. So LG needs to get ready for this, as they don't even have a lot of players within the site. They've got PKL up in heaven. One more sitting back over here from behind the CT cubby area, and that's going to be SHZ. But PKL at the moment just fragging out 2 kills before he finally goes down up in heaven there. Showtime getting some decent damage done too. In fact, OpTic do need the smoke on the cross by sidewalk there so that they can safely get into post-plant positions. This is a really messy push, and in fact, it's left into LG's favor, only trading out that 1 kill on PKL. And Jason R and Rush so heavily lit, just one shot on both of them essentially, and they're dead. And there you go, they are dead pretty quickly. NAF as well doesn't last very long at all, and it's a pretty swift retake from LG to win out the pistol.
Yeah, that's a B retake, and on the B retake, they get 2 kills. They bring 2 players down to red HP, so it just makes the retake that much easier when you don't even have to worry about headshotting any of the Ts. I mean, they just take out Rush and Jason R with a couple body shots. OpTic does get the bomb down though, so small victory for them. They're going to be able to buy up in this upcoming round. And LG just gets 3 M4s, 2 umps, who also have utility. What I like here is I am a huge fan of Yell not buying like an ump or anything, or if he buys, just buying an MP9 and armor and that's it. Just making sure he has enough money to op next round, since you're pretty much almost certain that they're going to save here. And even if they don't, right, if they drop like AKs, you're still going to be fine with like an MP9 and armor. And then that way, you know they're not going to have an op on that 3rd round. You're able to bust that out, play super aggro with it, hold down positions like by yourself a lot of the time, since you know they're not going to have much utility either. But we don't see LG do that.
Hold back, and for the most part, a lot of their players pushing their way up now. Yell will challenge some of this further down towards short A. You can see his position right here. Tarek on the bathroom side of this one. Really trying to kind of lurk his way out here. But as we do see it, Destiny, Yell picked up those first couple kills there. That's Jason R and Tarek both gone down. And pretty quickly dispatching of most of the OpTic offense here. It's just down to Rush at this point. He's hoping for a lucky headshot, but won't get it. And it's a nearly flawless round from Luminosity on the second there. Yell getting a nice triple kill too.
Have you been reading about this CSGO in China stuff?
Yeah.
So are we going to, like, are we playing like the same game?
I mean, somewhat. Like the balance.
So it's like a little bit different?
The balance is the same, I think.
The what?
The balance is the same. like the gun balance and all that.
Oh, but it's not like the same thing. Like I know there was Counter-Strike Online, I think.
Yeah, no, it's the same client. It's just I think the server, I think the Chinese or like MM is gonna be like 128 tick.
Wow.
So they get a bit of a premium
Trump
service.
wasn't lying. China's beating us everywhere. That's what he was talking about.
I mean, technically correct. So Mixwell's going to take down PKL here, leaves us down to a 3v2. Luminosity trying to rotate back in. OpTic trying to force the issue on B. Somewhat works out here, but Molotovs from the CTs are still very much a thing, and this is actually going to push them back into water, where I think they're going to try to swing this up through connector and try to push it over towards A. As they do work their way over there, again, they will have a player from LG waiting for them. It's going to be Yell. And he actually pushes up pretty aggressively. He spotted Mixwell. I don't know if the reverse is true, though. So he's going to be able to pick him up. That was the easy kill. He was very low there. Unfortunately, it doesn't account for multiple players to be working their way out from the lower portion there on short A. Naf is going to catch the quick trade. Destiny's still very far away from this. He decides to, instead of going directly back up through the CT tunnels there, just works his way in on the flank instead through connector. And we'll hope to try and surprise here. Quick takedown on the Tarek. It's at a heavy cost, though. He's at 22 HP after finding that frag. The good news is his Naf is also taking some damage. He's sitting at 40. But a lot of time being wasted and him trying to check these corners and whatnot, and Naf is nowhere near it. He's working on a counter flank himself as he wraps back around through the bathroom connector. And Destiny, he'll get himself up behind the dice box, trying to wrap in the direction. He does have a kit, so a little bit more time to play with here. And they just spotted Naf on that peak. But the same is true on the reverse side of that one. With Naf spotting him, he does take a bit of a risk in going out to take that duel, but it pays off as he eliminates Destiny. And OpTic 2 get their first round on the board in the third round.
Yeah, nice little pre-fire here by Naf to kill Destiny in that 1v1. Smart move to counterflank as well. LG's going to buy up. They have 4 umps and an op. I love this buy right here. Give LG some time with your utility to make it 4v5 and then lock it down with the umps later on.
Now for LG. Spending a lot of their players in the position towards B, but up on A is where they got aggressive. And Yell, much as we've seen with many teams in the past, just grabs the kill, safely falls back to the site. Showtime challenging up close, but it works to a certain degree. A 3-for-2 trade still leaves it evened out in a 2v2. Problem is LG didn't start to rotate down towards A until this point when they got the site cleared out against their own favor. Now they're going to be a little bit late to the party. Yell's been smoked out completely towards Heaven here. He'll flash it a little bit. Well, instead just wrapping back down towards CT main. And Destiny, if he opens that door, he's got a nasty surprise waiting for him in the form of Jason R. Hasn't been able to spot his position until just now when he does get locked down onto where his head's hiding at. And indeed, moves around, remaining quite mobile, is able to catch that kill. Naf is going to try to take the sneaky route on this one, ducking his head down from within the smoke right next to the bomb, hoping they'll commit to the defuse while he's still inside of a smoke here. That's going to fade now, gets the first kill and the second. And Naf will close out with a 3K overall in the round in the second for OpTic, tying us up now.
What a way to win the round. Oh my goodness. That was awesome by Naf. That was a really good job by him. I don't think you need to get that aggressive there if you're OG though, after Yell makes it 4v5. I think you should, rely on him to kind of hold that A, get those early spots, keep 3 towards B, and just trust in like you guys trade killing when they actually try to take the site. Instead they're trying to take short control after it's already been taken control by OpTic, and OpTic gets the better of those trades.
Tarek's going to make quick work of eliminating Showtime. They wanted to try to go for a boost up there, caught them in the midst of it. That's 3 kills back to back to back with no trades at all from the LG side of things. Yell and Destiny also just on basically PT50s and a Deagle, so yeah, not the greatest of hopes here to actually make any impact. They bring one more player down low, but Destiny on the repeat to try and finish it off. Does not work out. OpTic do get the third pretty quickly, and they lose no players along the way either. So just a full save, and now Luminosity going back into a gun run pretty quickly after that one.
So LG getting another buy-in, 1 up, 4 M4s. Decent utility, not the best though. But OpTic, they're fully bought up. Jason R is going to keep that ump for economical reasons. So what is it, 3 in a row now for OpTic, right?
Mm-hmm. Same as the last fight, actually. Luminosity won the pistol and the one after that one, but as soon as OpTic got guns in their hands, they were running up on the point forward. Tarek getting a first kill here, taking out Destiny as well. The 2-stack in the connector fails utterly. Showtime tries to get aggressive out through a monster here, but it's traded up by Naf. Now he's got the op in hand, and it's a 4v2 where I think OpTic are going to kind of take a chill pill for a moment and regroup before they can recommit themselves into either one of the sites. There is still opportunity for Luminosity to kind of bounce back here. with both PKL and SHZ being split on the map. PKL just watching out for short A presence, and little does PKL know, Jason R is actually working his way up through the connector too. But I think he's more so watching out for a flank against them than he is checking out for bathrooms pressure. And while he does peek out against PKL, PKL will get the better of him in that situation, eliminating Jason R. Now smoking himself off, but seemed like he may decide to push past it, and indeed he does. Gets one, finally traded up by Rush, but this opened up actually a really good opportunity for SHZ to just clutch out here. Tarek's one tappable, 6 HP. The real target's going to be Rush, who has to deal with first, and unfortunately for him, Rush will get the angle advantage to start that one off. So it's an easy closeout, and OpTic do indeed pick up now a 4th round, and they have a pretty commanding lead starting to grow at this point.
Yeah, Yell and Destiny just a little bit off there. Had they waited for the OpTic members, I think they would have probably gotten those kills. Instead, kind of peeking into them and losing that battle. So LG, that's going to put them on an eco. Destiny opting for, a lot of the time, he gets this half armor instead of like any type of dig or dig armor or anything like that. Yell takes a big nade for about 56.
Neil getting really aggressive too after getting hit by that nade. Close against the wall. I don't think anyone realized he got here though, so Mixwell just goes hopping into his own death. That's an op for Yell to play with now. More around the corner. He misses that shot, however, and it's going to be a short-lived push from him as Rush just takes him right back out of the play afterwards, and the op goes right back into the hands of OpTic. Actually, no. They're going to... Yeah, they just throw the AK away, so... Slow play afterwards here. Luminosity, keep in mind, this is an eco round for them. So OpTic just taking it slow, I imagine, to weigh out the possible aggression from Luminosity's own players here. We do have them starting to push their way forward inside of the bathrooms here, but not actually able to meet up against any of the OpTic players just yet. It's PKL swinging up. That the timing on that one works out perfectly. Takes down Rush. The smoke even gets wasted too. Just falls onto the ground. Destiny now has a flank working against the guys from OpTic. Still over here in the upper tunnels. He's going to take another one out right there. They're down to 2 now, and these 2 are split. SHZ just deletes Tarek, trying to work his way in from Monster. And for Jason R, there's not a whole lot left he can do, so he's probably going to have to camp out either an A long or the playground and try to save.
Yeah, and no map control from OpTic, but it was kind of odd because Tarek was in, connector. He goes back out to B, and then I think Destiny pushed connector when he went towards B and went up the ladder. So it was like just very odd timings there. They spam the smoke. After they're done spamming the smoke, Pickle comes through the smoke, kills Rush while he's setting up a smoke. Just a very odd sequence of events that round. And LG just on point with their timings, able to get a lot of kills. I mean, how many kills did they get where OpTic didn't even have a chance to fire their weapon?
So that had to be 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, Destiny, Tarek got one deked. Mixwell had his knife out when he went. Destiny got that kill. I mean, almost every single kill was just uncontested.
So, well, for that one, Luminosity to escape with a free round, essentially. Now almost retying this game immediately. And Tarek not helping his own team's case here by taking that much damage early on in the round through the Molotov and an HE grenade down at 2 HP right from the start of it. And just having to camp in this corner to make sure the CTs don't get aggressive in the connector. There's going to be no presence this time. Luminosity went back to a more passive play style now. So they've just got 3 stacked on B with 2 up towards A.
This is interesting.
Only now are we going to see Destiny looking out towards long with smoke from up on top. And oh, rip. I think he wanted to bounce a little bit further to block off short A, but didn't have the arc. So now after that one, the rest of OpTic obviously not going to have too much of a reaction to that, but everybody else just decides to work their way down through that connector, and I imagine this is just going to turn itself into a pretty straightforward B execute. So good thing, of course, that Luminosity do have the 3rd player here, and then having that player, they have plenty of utility to try and lock this off. You can still see the Monster smoke back off. Destiny has a Molotov, and I don't believe he's one of the players that are down here currently, but we'll see in a moment if that comes into use. In fact, yeah, Molotovs do start to roll their way out, but this is from the T side primarily as they move in. SHC goes down, but Showtime re-peeks for the double, and now Destiny wraps in from the backside just in time. And Showtime on the site will close out into the final kill.
Easy and perfect hold by LG. It's going to force OpTic onto what I believe will be an eco. We'll see. Showtime getting a nice 3K and an assist on Tarek as well.
Yeah, so off of that, we go into a pause, assumably from the OpTic side of things. Money's at a bit of a contention point here where, okay, Naf, Tarek, they could possibly force into this one and have some pretty good buys, but Rush, Jason R, and Mixwell are at the breaking point. There's really not a situation where they can go for this one right now. So if they want to try to be aggressive and play this out for the lead, they can, but may not even be worth it, as LG may just be able to rebuy afterwards too, since most of their players stayed alive on that last round. Quick pause though, and in fact it's already ended, so we do immediately go back into the match now, and we'll see OpTic's decision.
Jason R, the mastermind.
That's Hayes now.
Well, Hayes is the coach. He's not the in-game leader.
That's true.
Not often you have a ringer that's an in-game leader, but I guess nobody on OpTic wants to just step up and an in-game lead.
Yeah, so they just upgraded their pistols for this round, so nothing huge being invested in. Oh, Yell had a chance at a free kill there, but just a little off the mark, so he misses the opportunity. And now Jason R just swings past a Molotov. Now Yell is going to be able to pick up some kills. There's a second. Dinked on that one, though, so down to 20 HP, but PKL's just going to take his place. Yell's still on the run as he's trying to escape this one, and PKL is trying to eliminate everybody there, but Tarek's actually going to take down Yell, and apparently Destiny did a lot of team damage there, but still, PKL eliminating Mixwell, now leaves it on to Tarek alone in the 1v3. Sneaking his way up, of course, maybe able to surprise on someone out through like A-long, as he still have PKL here at 2 HP. So maybe he can get that going for himself and then retrieve the bomb, but ultimately a quick shutdown from LG has left them in good standings, and Tarek even just tosses the Oppo away too, didn't want to give them the free gun.
Smart.
So going into this next one here, just rebuys it. Still looking to save since he was right in the heat of the moment there. LG was stacked all around him, so the odds of him actually escaping with that up and being able to save it were pretty low. Just rebuys it now. It goes over towards Mixwell this time. Moving on to another full buy round. Luminosity still working with an ump, sitting on SHZ. And Yell, of course, as we saw with the up being tossed away there, had to rebuy his own. Now Destiny pushing forward this time, along with PKL out through A-long. Jason R does spot Destiny. Did some good damage, though, but the good news for OpTic is that Rush continued to push forward, found PKL at A-long before he could finish off the job on Jason R, preventing the trade, and now giving the guys on OpTic a pretty big advantage of 5v3, and they can just take their time after finding these early kills. Beyond the eliminations of PKL and Destiny, though, it has left a pretty hollow hold on the A site, with it basically just being on the upper Yell to defend against any A pushes. And for both, well, the last two, besides that on the A site from LG, they try to get aggressive and push their way forward against water. That is going to make it very obvious where the defenses are positioned, however, and they do decide to push in against SHZ, as assumably Tarek is going to call out that SHZ's been lit and will be potentially an easy target, but at the moment, SHZ holding quite well. He gets 2 more kills downstairs there, eliminating both Rush and Jason R. Now, all of a sudden, this is even back out into a 2 versus 2, and there is the possibility that LG may just outright win this round and get to solidify their lead even more so. Both the OpTic guys continue forward outside of the connector, and are going to smoke things off on the site, but not looking like they'll actually follow through. They just deploy the smokes, hoping they can take SHZ for a ride, but the problem is they hadn't seen the rotation from Yell, so unless they flash out here, then Yell's just going to be an easy shot, and now SHZ can rotate back up. Mixwell trying to play it slowly, but the smoke on the right side there is not actually covering off towards Semi, and there's only 10 seconds left here. Mixwell's just got to go for this and hope he can get the plant, which he'll attempt to do now, but knifed out by Yell. He just rolls up and has a bit of fun with the end of that one, and Luminosity went out what was started off as a 3v5.
Yeah, that was pretty cool by Yell, but I mean, this is just very poor decision-making by OpTic. Very, very poor. I don't care if that guy has 1 HP down there. He's going to be favored in those battles. I mean, it's a really difficult shot as a T, and very CT-sided, or not necessarily CT-sided, but whoever's in that position.
Yell getting aggressive again here up towards the steps. He didn't realize, however, that they were that close, so they are going to be able to trade out the kill. Molotov covers off those steps themselves, though, and I think Destiny realized that Naf had escaped into the bathroom, so good control of the situation by Destiny after Yell did kind of get overwhelmed there, and already they're down to 2. Jason R is going to...
Rush does not want to off. He never offs. He just tosses it immediately. So take it, Jason.
So they'll give that to him. And in the meantime, Rush hopping on top of the flowers. PKL heard that, though, so he was able to prep for it. Easy kill onto Rush. And now Jason R, we'll see if he can do anything at all. But if not, it's going to be another quick one for LG. 7-4 now as we head kind of into the late rounds in the half here. And it is indeed looking like if things continue as the way they are, LG will control the situation. Jason R, of course, trying to do as much damage as possible before he is assumably eliminated in this situation. Keep in mind, he does hold the bomb, so he can, in a few moments, here try to escape towards a site and look at the very least for a plant to give to his teammates heading into that next round. But in creeping out here towards long, not checking his backside, that will indeed be the end of it as PKL does finalize the round, pushing LG forward even more so.
Yeah, 7-4. OpTic had their chances to reverse the scoreline, to be up, but once they lost that 2v4 to SHZ and Yell, you know, just kind of turned the economy around.
Yeah, and now, well, this will take us into another gun round for OpTic. 4 AKs along with the op for Mixwell. We do see Tarek trying to move in towards early control on water once more, but pushing up there, kind of misses his chances from Luminosity's players pushing out towards construction themselves. They just smoked it back off.
I'm surprised they don't do the boost in blue to just get that free kill on him.
But upstairs, they have seen the boost, trying to counter out any aggression towards short A once more, but that's not the case in this round from OpTic. They do seem kind of lost in a way with them being so spread out here early on in the round right now. No decision being made just yet in terms of where they're going to take this towards. For the site, players just kind of scattered all across the map now. You got a guy in Connector, you got a guy watching out from Fountain, you got a guy watching out through Day Long, you got a guy checking Monster, and you've got another guy watching out over here from that little cubby inside of water. The boost up spots one, doesn't do the greatest amount of damage though. In fact, it does nothing. And Yell himself is lit up quite a bit, loses just under a third, just under a third of his health pool there in that exchange. So now OpTic are going to start to solidify themselves a little bit more. A few guys joining Tarek over here inside of water while still having a Monster, and the bomb carrier as well, sitting outside of Monster position. That's Naf playing over towards there. And we can even see Mixwell starting to rotate down here too. So the commitment's definitely going to work its way in towards B again. And it's going to be up to LG to just put a quick stop to this one. But Smokes will get in the way on Sidewalk, along with other positions over here on the site itself. Most of the push working its way in for Monster. SHZ still trying to figure this out though, as he's losing ground very quickly. Peeks out, gets a one-on-one trade, but Showtime's not able to capitalize upon the death of his teammate. Yell up close though, gets one. An opportunity for a second, he'll miss it. Now stuck in Pit. OpTic, the good news here for Yell is that they're not really challenging Pit that aggressively. So he's just allowed to frag out. PKL gets the fourth, and now it's down to Tarek, who only has 3 seconds left. They can just wait in the cubby. They can hear him walking around, and they do kill him before the timer expires, so he still gets losing money. But LG went out the round once again.
Yeah, and even though OpTic got those initial frags, they executed with only about 30 seconds left on the clock, and all of LG's rotates come. Yell just hits pretty insane shots right here in order to really hold it off, but they couldn't plant because of it. Every single person from OG was there so quickly, so made it very tough on OpTic to even get the bomb down, and OG takes another close round.
OpTic just buying into it again here without any real utility stacks this time.
Yeah, and one of the things that OG's been doing that OpTic, I don't know if OpTic has more than, you know, 2 op kills right now, and Yell's kind of just owning right now for LG. We could take a look at the scoreboard real quick. I wonder what his score is. Yeah, so he's 14-7 along with Pickle. And Mixwell, you know, just like I said, OpTic not utilizing the off very well, 3-11.
Yeah, he's out of the bottom of the barrel for this entire map currently. It's not like we're going to see him do all that much this time again with the AK in hand. And no utility to support him. Luminosity back to being aggressive too. We can see Destiny's pushed all the way to the very edge of A long. Potential to early flank them if they went towards A.
He heard Mixwell. He hears them. He jumped off party as well. I'm pretty sure Destiny hears him. And he's probably going to call. Yeah, and they still have 3 towards B. And look at how many nades those B players have.
PKL's working his way over there first cubby too, but this is just a shutdown. They got the bomb. They pretty much killed Rush. Jason R, good trade at the very least to find SHZ, but they've got a lot more work than that to do currently. Showtime sits on the other edge. Rush looking for a trade that's dangerous though at 24 HP. Destiny finding Mixwell. Jason R goes down to PKL, and the smoke's going to be fading in a second here, so Rush will be found out by Destiny through the alt tunnel, and that's Luminosity up to 9 here. Really just crushing it now as OpTic can't find, you know, any good way to get into a site, let alone find the plant that went out in the post-plant area there.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to execute on B. There's 3 players there. Nobody takes long A control. So, I mean, why not have 3 people there? So, as far as OpTic is concerned, I mean, you're going to sites where you're running into stacks. You have people consistently flanking you and, you know, calling where you're going and whatnot. And OG just kind of, you know, like I said before Nuke started, like, sometimes they just have guys who could just kind of sneak around the map, and Overpass is one of those maps too, where as a CT, you could just make some really sneaky, tricky plays.
Now Tarek trying to kind of lurk around here and seeing if they can sneak up. Now Yell's seeing the shadow, and oh, Destiny actually bailing out Yell for a moment there. Still kind of gets overwhelmed. The Destiny doesn't want to find himself in that mess of frags, and yeah, he is going to be able to get way more kills because of that one. Ends up with a 3K on the round, and just another overall shutdown, not even giving OpTic the plant. So they have enough to buy for this last round, of course, but not going to be seeing an op once more. It's just all 5 AKs again.
Yeah, and Overpass is a bit similar to Nuke in that there's a lot of spots to watch. You know, there really is. There's, you know, like when you're a T, especially, and you're trying to watch the flank, there's a lot of different areas that people can push from and get behind you. And you have to account for all that. And sometimes we see things like this happen, where people are just consistently getting behind people. They're pushing at the right time, kind of relaying that info to their teammates and over to overplay a site by sending an extra guy there. And if you're close to each other, like these two teams are pretty close to each other. I think OpTic's better, but LG isn't that far behind. And when that's the case, if you have an extra guy there on LG, you're probably going to hold the site.
Yell again trying to challenge early on here towards the short A position right outside of those bathrooms there. Taking the shot. Unfortunately, not meeting a connection, and elsewhere we saw Destiny losing about half of his own HP early on here. Now Yell still wants that early kill, so he's going to push up even further, trying to see if there's anyone still hanging out in the area, but after not finding much, he'll just smoke it back off. Him and... Oh, okay. Wow. Destiny is found by Tarek through the smoke, so that'll be the first early kill going by the way of OpTic, and Yell hasn't even seen Mixwell creeping through his own smoke too. So they get away with a lot early on here that they really should not have, and now PKL's got to hope he can pull off a heroic defense. There's one, but tries to transfer it, and is unsure of the position for Jason R there, so he'll be able to trade that right back out on the PKL. Now it's a 4v2 retake, and they don't have a flank working up from Connector or anything. Both are just working their way through the dumpster, even a smoke in the way there. So they'll both push past it. The semi, first player is actually just out on his own, but Rush with the trade, leaves it all on Showtime. He does good damage to Rush, can't finalize it right then and there though. Flashbang is blinded Showtime. Rush will close out, and we do indeed see a 5th round go up onto the board for OpTic. So it's the same scoreline as we had back on Nuke, actually just reversed. It's OpTic down 5-10. And you'll have to stick with us, folks, to see if they can round it back, or if it's going to be LG to carry through and take us 1-1 for the night.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
All right, well, it's time for our final half of the evening now. It's on Overpass for those that weren't with us earlier, and it's OpTic taking on Luminosity. Earlier, it was OpTic dominating things on Nuke, but at the moment, it's gone in the reverse direction. Currently, LG hold most of the cards as we trade halves, and they'll be jumping onto their T side in just a few moments here. Yeah,
and LG, I mean, most of what they were doing aggressive-wise wasn't too much at the start of the round. It was a lot of mid-round aggression. It was when OpTic decided, hey, let's group up towards B. Then all of a sudden there'd be a guy that pushes towards bathrooms or towards A or towards whatever, and he's like, hey, they're going B. You, rotator, lean over there. Yeah. All of a sudden you have 3 people there, Yell on a quick rotate as well, and you're going to win the round in that case, right? It was a lot of mid-round aggression that gained info, usually not even resulting in kills for that player that gets aggro, but results in information which he's relaying to his team, and his team using that information to get an extra player on the site and locking it down, generally at the B site.
Well, we are back into it now as Luminosity does indeed jump onto the T side. And right from the start, Tarek doing some good damage to Yell, and not a whole lot being traded back onto him. He knocks off half the HP from him before promptly falling back, or at least attempting to. Bit of a long range still there, but he does get himself back before he's picked off by Luminosity, who went in to take that A-Long control. And for the time being, Tarek just actually going to wait out and make sure that no one else follows him past the flower pot and onto the site.
Very odd B setup here. I think it's one graffiti, one kind of pushed up monster. This could definitely be something that could be abused by LG if they end up smoking in front of Rush, flashing over, killing Mixwell. But they're not going to go towards B. They are going to go towards A, where there's 3 people waiting on OpTic.
Yeah, and everybody just grouped up inside of the bathrooms right now, waiting to kind of explode out, and Yell working his way in from long. They are trying to overwhelm this site. SHC with the first, Nap trading out, and he gets a second before going down, but it's Nap and Tarek, as you can see, back-to-back headshots against both of them. Quick rotates, at least from Rush. Mixwell trying to come in on a flank, but they found that one, and SHZ just clotheslines Mixwell, takes him down to the ground. It's on Rush, but he too will suffer the same fate. Destiny knocking him out, and it's Luminosity with a pistol round victory here to start off the second half.
Yeah, great trade kills over at that A site. Tarek kind of tucked in the corner. I believe the flash got him, which was like a bit of a saving grace for them because he wasn't even able to get one frag. Nobody knew he was there. You expect him to multi-frag in that situation, but for whatever reason isn't able to capitalize on it.
OpTic having to go onto the full save now after that one. You kind of spread their players out across the map here, not trying to do any sort of stack or anything on a gamble. But they do have 2 guys pushed out aggressively from A to try and get the earlier intel here. This may prove to be bad for them, as it could very well just open up the gate into that site. You already see 3 players trying to push their way out from long. Mixwell in a moment will certainly hear this, as he's already heard the Molotov. But
yeah, pretty much the most common anti-eco we see from T's. You take that long A control, you smoke, you molly the site. In their case, they don't have any mollies, but still, you're taking a lot of long-range battles. You could take a lot of ground here.
And for the time being, OpTic really not doing a whole lot to actually challenge that ground to be taken.
Well, it should be an easy round for them. I mean, OpTic didn't buy a scout. They don't have any Deagles, just 157, 3 P250s, and a USP. Completely giving up A, so they should be able to take the site just for free. And shouldn't lose many guns here.
Yeah, and in fact, OpTic added Mixwell to the, well, no pun intended, the mix downstairs at B as well, so they decided to 4-stack down there, and this is unfortunately going to end up biting them back pretty badly, since they will not be able to stop the hit on the site at all, or even resist it. Tarek swinging out, takes Duel versus Showtime, and he actually does win it, so at the very least getting that going for him here, but there's a lot more that still needs to be done. And as we do see the remaining 4 on OpTic, besides Tarek, do shuffle away from that one pretty quickly to try and line up through the connector. But LG should already be set up for this, especially Yell, since him being so close, you can probably hear these guys moving up. There's one on the Nap, falls through the second on the Jason R, and the last 2 try to push the normal route through the CT tunnels, but probably not going to be seeing much from them. It should be, as you mentioned, the easy 12th for Luminosity here.
Yeah, I wonder if OpTic might buy in this upcoming round, or if they just want to get a fully bought round on their 4th, or sorry. Yeah, fourth. Sorry. Bit of a there. We'll see. Mixwell just having a rough game though, man. We almost never see him. 4 and 16.
Yeah, just no impact at all. I mean, you mentioned the op was basically like a non-factor for OpTic's T side. And if the scoreline continues to climb the way it is now, he's probably not even getting much of a chance to make it a factor going into the actual gun rounds here for their CT side. But they are full saving again, which means that, as you mentioned, they're probably looking for like the full buy going into the first gun round there, with the op included and everything like that. So we have to hope it really shows up with big effectiveness. Otherwise, Luminosity's going to have a very easy path to claim these first few rounds. They'll build up a little bit of money, I imagine, too, because based on what happened in the last round, of course, we're seeing a similar core path happen here. Luminosity just walking out onto B. OpTic tried to move as a 5-man group aggressively out through short A. Didn't find anyone from LG, however, and are now trying to kind of swarm downstairs to line around the B site, hopefully pick up some players on exits, but they've already taken site control. They're going to plant, and there's not really anyone except for Rush over there. I was about to say, there's not really anyone except for Rush blocking the exit up through the A site. which is where they more than likely could have easily escaped from, but at the moment he's actually blocking their pass. There could be quite a bit of damage done here for OpTic. Showtime trading out onto Rush, though, and that does open up the path. The booster on top here is Jason R. He's looking for something to see if he can catch players by like Toxic or just over in the safe plant position. He may catch SHZ in a second here, but no, they just saw him, so they know that that's happening now. Showtime just gets a little bit of a cheeky jump spray against him to knock off about a third of his own health pool, and we will indeed see everybody else just successfully retreating out through those CT tunnels to try and save in that route. And right now, with only Yell going down, it's still a huge build-up for them. We'll try to change that, but just immediately knocked out by Showtime. And so going into that first gun run, obviously Yell has to buy up for himself again here. But everybody else, so much money. 5,800, 55, like 55, 5,800 for almost everybody, and Destiny a little bit lower at 43, but that's still a huge stack of cash for the first gun round. And OpTic, they do indeed get that full buy that they wanted to go for here. Mixwell has the op along with Fleet Utility, and everybody else having M4s, of course. Still only one kit, however, and that's sitting on Rush, so just keep that in mind later should this come down to a post-plant scenario. But Luminosity not slowing down in any way, shape, or form here. Still going for a 4-1 split that they're actually quite fond of on this map, but it works out for them as they move in, take really fast control of Long, and SHZ already knocking out Mixwell. So that's the op down to the ground, and there's going to be no room for recovery on that one.
Wow.
I think the one thing that OpTic, had the scoreline have been closer, may have been able to try and manipulate here is the fact that Luminosity actually do play a fairly straightforward T side here. They only have like a few core strats that they tend to run from round to round, and it's usually like a 4-1 or a 3-1-1 split. They almost never go to B.
Or kill everybody at A and take the site split, as we're seeing right now.
Yeah, like this. Unfortunately, OpTic just keep taking the fights.
Yeah. How disappointing is that?
Yeah.
When you save those rounds and you don't even get to use any of your utility. Yeah, I don't know. I can't recall the last time we saw OG on Overpass. Actually, I can't remember what their T side was like. Actually.
Well, I was checking out the demo the other day when they played CLG, and that was yeah.
Oh wait, was that the CLG game where they were just making so many dumb mistakes? CLG was.
Yeah,
or was
that was the one where CLG kept messing up.
Where we were casting it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That was like 3 weeks ago, I think, somewhere around there. But I mean, overall, like I said, for the most part, LG had like in gun rounds anyway, they only had like 1 or 2 usual strats that they tended to run towards, and it was either like a 4-1 split or a 3-1-1 split, but it was almost always towards A.
It's very different than what OpTic did that last time. They went B generally.
Yeah.
So the rounds, right? Whenever it was like 5v5, they wanted to group up B.
LG for the most part would only really go B if it was like an anti-eco or like or they were on like a forced round, or if they were on like an eco themselves or something like that. They would save it for situations where they could go really fast into the site, and that was about it. So into this next one here, and OpTic do decide to force into it once more, but actually LG diverting themselves a bit away from this, and we are going to see here in what they may believe is an anti-eco. They're going to try to rush in towards B. It's working out great for them so far, though. 1-to-1 trade, and Nap actually sneaks in a second one with the nade here. Now it's SHZ nearly alone, running out of ammo as well, so he's got to duck back down and hope that Yell can support him a little bit, but it's left down to a 3v3. Nap inside of the pit, but he's burning out now. He's got to be very careful. 48 HP, but he holds his position. LG themselves, we can see, are kind of frozen. Stuck behind the tracks and the pole itself, not wanting to move out from their half of the site. Nor are they wanting to actually retreat back through Monster. So it's given Nap the confidence to take a duel, but PKL still gets the better of him. And now, looking for one more. I'm not sure if they noticed Tarek going into the pit or not yet. I think the corpse might have actually covered him crossing when it was Yell that was looking towards him a moment ago. He's holding the left side very slowly, just pushing his way back up. The smoke works its way over there towards construction, but again, as they get aggressive, they lose yet another player, and Yell moves in to finalize it as he takes down Mixwell, and Luminosity push up towards 15.
They just get 2 trade kills, make it to 3v3, and then just wait and wait and wait. And the reason OpTic had to take fights there is because they don't know if the bomb's going back. They don't know if the bomb's going back A. So they're like, oh, do you have a flash? Okay, let me try to clear it to see if they're still there. Oh, now it's 2v3. Well, maybe I can get a pick and then run back. And they didn't, even when it was 2v3 and Naf died, they still didn't know if bomb was going A. So without that information, you don't see the bomb. All of a sudden, they're not really making any noise. You kind of have to take that action. So that was actually really smart by OG. Having said that, would that have worked if somebody from OpTic flanked? probably not. But, you know, luckily for them, that didn't happen, right?
Yep. So now that LG know OpTic are going to be forcing here, they go back to the 3-1-1 split. And OpTic, well, pretty much just everybody holding back. I can see Mixel's pushing up the bathrooms a little bit right now. They have cleared out water, so they know that there's no presence early on right there. But more than likely, since, again, Luminosity's been given free reign over A long, we'll probably see those guys start to group back up and try to push into the site from there as soon as they can kind of get the bomb together with Showtime here. As they've moved up, they're kind of clearing out the bathroom connector too. Biggest worry is going to be if they split this into like a short A push, and they don't account for Mixwell and Tarek playing together there, and that kind of throws a cog in the gears for them. But 45 seconds remaining, so still plenty of time to play this out, and they actually decide not to go forward towards A. They're going to fall back a little bit here, go back downstairs.
You know, they just wait a little bit. Almost all the utility on OpTic is gone. Now they just go on to B.
Going in, first player's kind of alone. Destiny trying to trade, and he does succeed.
That kill onto Rush was quite possibly the round-winning kill.
The map-winning kill at that.
Yeah.
As it's going to push them forward up to 16. If they are able to get the site under their control following that. Naf peeks out, takes another duel there. That's going to give Yell another kill. Time was low for this plant, but they're going to get it. And they've even got SHZ watching out for flank should it happen. Won't be happening, so they will need the support from within the site here. And Yell, oh my goodness, the op was covering off his it was covering off his position to try and spot that player downstairs inside of the pit. So Tarek sneaks one off, and now SHZ trying to lurk back in here. He's not going to be able to do it. The good news, it's a full 10-second defuse. The molly's going to bounce over here. It's not going to spread quickly enough, though. Oh my goodness, it just misses him. Wow. So he's going to be able to get the full 10-second defuse. Mixwell just barely sneaks that one in. And with that, OpTic stay in the game for a little bit longer.
Whew. That was not a round that I thought OpTic had any business winning. Yell, not worried about the pit for some reason. The molly just a little bit too short. That was LG's round to lose. And OpTic picking that one up. So 6-15, but man, is this going to be a tough comeback.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the last map here. It's actually almost the exact same thing that happened in the last map, where Luminosity were down this far and they had to go 9 or 10 rounds straight. Tarek getting a first kill, though, and they haven't even seen this guy yet. Mixwell up against the wall so early on, going to push in. Yell, great reaction, though. Does take down the kill before he himself is eliminated, but down at 29 HP. He's going to have to play this very cautiously for the rest of the map here. As, again, Luminosity playing into their default split. Destiny is going to push forward now to take connector control so we can regroup with the rest, and they can try to make a push towards one of the sites.
LG very spread out, and that's so that they could watch, you know, every avenue of aggression from OpTic. So you have to really be able to trust your players as individuals in these scenarios, so that, you know, OpTic can't flank and basically do what they did to them, you know, the other half. So short B control comes out. They have 3 towards B, 1 towards A right now. They're going to run right into LG.
As they do move out, look at this Showtime with the double kill right off the bat and watching the alt tunnel. Naf, oh, nice swing around actually. Does catch PKL before he's eliminated, but 19 HP, not the greatest situations. And what's worse is Tarek.
19 HP, Destiny flanking. Bomb's going to go down.
Tarek still has to go for that full rotate. He actually does catch Destiny though, so winning out there. Re-evens it into a 2v2. The bomb will go down. Showtime's still going to watch out for Tarek. He lines up that shot beautifully though. And now it's just going to be on Naf. They should already know where Naf is playing from. And with the smoke, it'll just reconfirm his position towards water. He's going to instead wrap back over here. But actually, nobody watching downstairs yet. Obviously, the sound will alert it. But still, Naf gets one, but is then traded up by Showtime. So with a 4K, he will close out the second map for his squad. And Luminosity trade blows with OpTic this evening. They'll lose out on Nuke, but they'll definitely win out here on Overpass. Taking a 1-1 matchup for this evening. Both teams will go away with 1 win.
Yeah, and Luminosity, I mean, I think the only rounds OpTic won, what they, on their T side, they won like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th maybe, like 3 in a row, but after that, it was just all Luminosity. They played great. CT side, a lot of mid-round aggression, got that info for their team, and T side, you know, trusting their players as individuals to push back map control and whatnot, and they were always successful. Going back to that first gun round, you know, 4th round gun round, they just get 3 initial entries at long A, winning those duels. So hats off to LG.
Yeah, so as we bring the analysts into the conversation, let's kind of talk about the whole day here, guys. Pretty much the day, I think, going somewhat as expected. Obviously not expecting Selfless to put up as much of a fight as they did in their first matchup, but this second one here, definitely a close one. It indeed showed itself to be that.
Yeah, I mean, Selfless coming out and putting double digits up on there was the actual question before the show.
Yeah.
But then as it progressed, it obviously became just a little bit more than that. I mean, Vendetta, for you, what were your takeaways from today?
Obviously, impressive showing from Selfless in that sense. Much better than what we expected. That's, a bit of a shining light for them going into the last couple of weeks of Pro League. Maybe they can get out of that relegation spot, at least auto-relegation for the time being. So, promise is shown there. It's going to be fun to see how that pans out. And, going into this one, I guess as, even as we would have expected between these two teams, we said that with 2 Ws, Luminosity jumps up on the same record as OpTic, so they're pretty evenly contested, especially with the issues that OpTic are going through, and that, showed to be the case as well. Split 1 map each.
What is there to say about Nav? I mean, him as a player.
Nav is kind of the guy who's he's your glue guy in the sense that he's reliable, right? And you can see the 1v2 situation here. That was one of the few positives really about OpTic's T side here, being a bit of a ninja on the bomb side, and plays that perfectly. Really, just super patient, doesn't freak out in a situation where it's very easy to kind of feel like you have to make a move when you're stuck inside that smoke. Just overall very solid, but he's reliable. He does what he's supposed to do, and he rarely messes up in that sense.
Well, even that play right there, quite risky.
Oh yeah,
especially in terms of the score line, in terms of where the match is at that point. Quite a risky, ballsy play to make, and it pays off. I mean,
yeah, it sets them off on I think it was a 3-round streak in that sense, and that was pretty much their entire T half in terms of what they actually got from it, right?
So, really was.
So that was a massive thing for them, and honestly, if it hadn't been for that 4v2 round where they kind of end up running into Shaz, sitting in water, it could have been a very different game.
Well, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
But let's take a look at the matchups from today as we do kind of give a quick recap here. As you do see the score lines, that is correct. That is not a typo. 16-14, Cloud9 over Selfless. Could have been another story right there. But as we do see that kind of sort of progress how we kind of, I guess, envisioned it. I could have seen these two teams splitting maps here in the latter doubleheader of the night. So all in all, this is kind of how we've seen it go.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, at the end of the day, it's still a 2-0 for Cloud9 and still a 1-1 for OpTic and Luminosity. So, in that sense, to be expected. And with that as well, not too many changes in the standings, if any, actually. I don't think, because Cloud9 still, obviously has 2 more games played and worse round difference than SK, so not going to topple them for first, even though they get 2 Ws here. But they do actually get to 15 wins, so they got that going for them. And otherwise, OpTic, Luminosity just kind of keeping their distance between each other.
Well, 100%. I mean, at that point, like I said, this is sort of if you compare it to baseball, it's kind of like the hunt for October. Not October, but I think it's September. Jesus. Anyway, the point is, it's all about the playoff race right now and closing the gap between the certain packs of teams and sort of like distancing yourself from where you want to be. And we can't stress it enough that right now is crunch time for the majority of these top tier teams up there at that higher level.
Oh, no, it definitely is. I mean, it's now or never, especially with a lot of them facing each other towards the last 4 weeks here of Pro League, right? Like, that's going to mean so much more than, your otherwise matchup where it's top versus bottom in that sense. So, losing to Selfless, obviously, like, that wouldn't be like a happy look back, on your season that far. But losing, for instance, to someone who's right next to you on the table is obviously going to mean a lot more in the grand scheme of things.
The grand scheme of things, it does come down to that top 6 placing in those top 6 finishers from each EU and North American regions that advance to that LAN finals there in Dallas. As we do pull up the European standings in front of you, North Australis Navi, and then Mouse Sports Hellraisers FaZe obviously coming fresh off the Star Ladder win. What is there to say about EU standings as they are right now?
Well, first, right off the bat, you can notice that there's not that many double-digit wins or win teams in EU as of right now. A lot of, I guess, more evenly spread out. You can see the lower end isn't that far off. G2 sitting at 6 to 8 at 13th. So they're not necessarily out of playoff contention at this point either, which is pretty cool. So very much anybody's game over in Europe there as of right now. But that's obviously going to be really interesting to see how it pans out for the next couple of weeks.
Indeed. Well, top 6 from each region, like I said, make it to these LAN finals in Dallas. For some, this could be the first time for some of them.
Yeah,
and it definitely as turbulent of a season as North American Counter-Strike has been all across the board. It's definitely something that should be interesting to everyone involved. If you haven't heard about it, if you haven't secured your tickets, if you have never been to Dallas, you need to head over to proleague.com/Dallas. Get your tickets, buy your flight, get your train ticket, get your bus ticket, buy a bicycle, take a canoe, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Just head on down to Dallas. Make sure you're there at the Verizon Theater for those LAN finals coming up in June, I believe. What's your method for getting down there? Is it canoe or what you got?
I mean, I was thinking about tricycle for a long time, but I've actually ended up with plane. I found some cheap tickets.
Nice. I think I think there's some tickets that are probably going to be a lot cheaper than others here soon, but we're not going to name any names because that's not what we're doing here. Let's take a look at tomorrow's matchups. We got Liquid OpTic, we've got Cloud9 SK. Hell of a match day over here at ESL Pro League.
Absolutely. This is like the big. This is like the main card of main cards, really. Liquid OpTic, obviously a massive game in terms of standings, in terms of rivalry, in terms of just names and the history they have between each other. Same thing with SK and Cloud9, the two titans of North American CS for the past couple of years in terms of how they performed in regional leagues and whatnot. So that should be super exciting as well. Even though that game doesn't necessarily have too much of an impact on the overall standings, it's just going to be really sick to see two of the best teams around really just duke it out.
Well, in all reality, like I said, this is the hunt. It's do or die time for some of these teams.
Yeah.
And actually, if you just tonight watch for the first time and you're like, man, those OpTic guys have a really cool logo. I really wonder what it's looked like throughout every one of their matches this season. You can head over to youtube.com/ESLCS and watch every one of those VODs. You can actually sit there,
watch the progression,
and watch every single VOD with the logo of your choosing in it, player of your choosing in it, or even the desired outcome. Just, don't fast forward. Don't be that guy if you haven't seen it before. Or learn something, too. There's also that side of things. Vendetta learns everything from those VODs.
It's pretty much where I pick up everything I know.
VODs?
Yeah.
Or tips and trick videos on, like, YouTube?
That, too, yeah.
Nice.
That's how I get around, really, just in everyday life.
I think I saw Blue trying to learn how to skateboard one time from one of those things. But anyway, that's a totally different
one of those
topic.
prank videos.
Yeah. It's a totally different topic for a different time. But that wraps it up for us here today. We've got some excellent matchups for you guys tomorrow. So make sure you're there with us at the ESL Pro League.